Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Southington High School. So nice to see a small crowd here this morning. I'm upset we didn't fill every seat. I'm Kathleen Reynolds. I'm the 9th grade assistant principal, also known as the 9th grade academy, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But it's so nice to see you here. The building has been very empty and quiet, and now from today on, it won't be, and that's how we like it. So welcome. Just so you know some of the things we're going to go over today, you should have received a schedule. I will tell you that changes do happen, so it's not set in stone. I know we made some changes to some science classes just as recent as yesterday. So what I would suggest is the hard copy you have could change, so you should be checking PowerSchool up till Tuesday. Tuesday's the day that we're hoping that you'll see your lunch waves and things like that. But just be checking. You're going to have so many people here to help you get situated, find your way around on those first few days. Lockers are an optional thing, and we'll get into that a little later, but we will show you where your locker's located. On your schedule, it has your locker combination. When you have an opportunity to tour today, you're going to walk around, start to find your way, start to find the quickest route, and it'll take a couple weeks to settle in, so that's totally fine. Figuring out a plan of how you're going to get involved here. We're going to talk a lot about clubs and activities. Some of you may have taken a list of the clubs and activities that were out on the tables. You can access them on our website as well. Many opportunities to get involved here, and we want you to be thinking about that from day one. And we want you to leave here not as nervous as you might have been walking through the doors. So I know that in front of me there's a lot of 9th graders, but we also have students who are new to Southington High School who may be in 9th grade, 10th, 11th, or 12th, so welcome everybody. You will see a lot of these posters around the building, the vision of a graduate, and over the course of the next 4 years, your teachers are going to work with you, your counselors are going to work with you to help you build the skills that you need for whatever comes next. Maybe you're going into the military. Maybe you're going into a career or a trade. Maybe you're going right to college and you already know where you want to go and what you want to do. But 4 years is a long time, and it's also a short time. So there's a lot of ways we want to build you up and prepare you for whatever happens once you leave Southington High School. Just so you can see what it's going to look like in 2029, and I really tried to make these balloons say 29 and look all fancy, and they didn't really, but that's okay. But 2029, again, feels like a long time from now, but these are some shots from the graduation in June of our class of 2025. And it's going to be a journey that's not so far away. So you'll be in these seats on the fields in just a couple of years. By that point, you'll have a plan of what's coming next. Your parents will be in the stands, will be crying, but excited for your next chapter. And it's really like a beautiful time. These next 4 years, a lot's going to happen, a lot's going to change. You're just going to grow into a young adult ready to take on the world. So when you're here today, there's a lot of information, obviously, that we're going to throw at you. But anything you can think of that you need, today is a great day to take advantage of it. So if you need a Chromebook, we have a table set up in the main cafeteria with our technology crew. They're there ready to give you a Chromebook, or if you're having any kind of issues, please talk to them. Also, if you need a student ID. So students who are new to Southington, or maybe you didn't have an ID out on the table, just stop in the main office while you're here. We can take your picture, and then your ID will be available to you on the first day of school in the main office. You are welcome to come back to the building really any day after today. If you want to keep walking your schedule, if you want to just keep getting a little more comfortable, the building is open and we are here, so feel free. Today isn't the be-all, end-all. You can come back at any time. So one great resource that we have in town is an organization called STEPS. STEPS has an office in our main office area, and they have a couple days a week that they are here. Kristen is one of the people who's involved with STEPS, and they work with some of our students. So they work with promoting mental health. You should have received a letter in the mail with a blue night sticker. That was courtesy of STEPS. It was kind of to welcome the incoming 9th graders here, so hopefully you all got a copy of that. And we do have 2 clubs that are affiliated with STEPS here at Southington High School. One of them is called STEPS XYZ, and I have Mr. Loomis who's going to come up and talk a little bit about that. And then we also have our youth council. So please welcome Mr. Tony Loomis.
Welcome everybody. Again, my name is Tony Loomis. I am the Health and PE Department Leader, and I'm also the advisor for the STEPS XYZ Club. You're probably familiar, you may be familiar with the STEPS ABC Club. You had those in elementary schools and in middle school. Here our students have renamed it to STEPS XYZ, kind of the end here. We're always looking to grow our club, and it's a great way to get comfortable with and learn about Southington High School, get involved with. It looks wonderful for colleges, what we're doing. So if you're thinking that far ahead, a lot of different reasons to join. All are welcome. We meet once a month. I always feed the club. We usually get pizza once a month. It's a really fun time. What do we do as a club? We help our fellow students find, understand, and build their strengths. Again, what do we do as a club? We help our fellow students find, understand, and build their strengths. If that's something you're curious about, helping others, you want to learn more, come to one of our meetings. It's really simple to join. You don't have to jump through any hoops. You can join our group, and it'll be wonderful. So I wish you the best of luck. Feel free to see me anytime. We are here to help. Enjoy.
Thank you, Mr. Loomis. I just want to point out it's not the STEPS YXZ Club, it's actually the XYZ Club. So now I know to fix that for the next presentation. So these are just 2 of many ways you can start getting involved. So great to think about. As you can see, the Youth Council has their first meeting September 11th. This presentation is going to be posted on the 9th Grade Academy website as of today, so you can access this at any time. Before I forget, important information from our head nurse, Mrs. Barber. She wanted me to let you know that she is not accepting any medications today, but she said she will be available to take them Monday between 7:30 and 2:15. So if you have a child who has a medication, an inhaler, whatever, please don't stop by there today. She's got a lot of paperwork for physicals she's in the process of processing. So just wait until Monday would be a good time to come back in for that. These are just a couple of shots of the XYZ Club in action over the course of last year. And there's, again, a million after-school evening activities that happen. So as you can see, a great way to get involved. So over the course of these next 4 years, and again, what you think you are most interested in and really good at now could change in a few years, and that's okay. But we want you to start thinking about your personal interests or a career pathway that's going to be the best for you. And we'll talk a lot about pathways. You and your counselors will talk a lot about that over the next 4 years. You want to start thinking about a profession. And again, maybe you're not going right into a 4-year college or a 2-year college. Maybe you are going right into the workforce. That's great. We want to help you connect to the community and start getting some work experiences that help take advantage of your strengths and the things that you are very good at. And as your counselors work with you to plan their courses over the next 4 years, we should be steering you down that pathway and towards that direction that you want to go in when you leave Southington High School in 2029. Or sooner if you're a new student. So again, when you look at your schedules too, you'll see, I think, is the BCAP on their schedule right now? Just kidding, it's not. But at Power School will be eventually. You might be starting to take some courses in the area, in the pathway of business. You might be starting, because you're in agricultural science, you're taking some ag sci courses. So these are the pathways that we talk about in directing you towards. And again, you might decide after you take a business course or 2 in 9th grade, you know what, it's really not for me. That's okay. You'll have those conversations with your counselor and try to decide on a different pathway so we get into the right classes that you need by the time you're in 10th grade and beyond. Well, I have a lot of important people in this room right now that I want to introduce you to so they can go off and do their important other administrator things. Unfortunately, Mr. Arroyo, who's our building principal, is not able to be here. He's going to be out on a medical leave and hopes to return the end of September, and he shouldn't have been sending a text at 12:30, but he's just recovering from some surgery. So he wanted me to let you know how disappointed he was that he couldn't be here. This is his second year as the building principal. This is his 40th year in education, and this is going to be the first day of school he's missing in all those 40 years. So he wanted me to welcome you all. Like I said, I'll be the point person if you need something administrative related that you have a question or concern about, but he will hopefully be here back with us at the end of September. I, again, am your 9th grade assistant principal. This is my second year here in Southington and my second year here at Southington High School. This is my 9th year as an administrator and my 21st year in education. So I've done everything from first grade, then I did middle school for 5 years, and now I'm here at the high school. I'm moving on up. You'll see Mrs. Fontaine today. She is the 9th grade Academy Administrative Assistant. So if you need to call and try to reach me for anything, she's the person that will be answering the phone first. Students, if you sat down in the 9th grade Academy offices, you'll see her before you see anybody else. And then we have a large administrative team. So here today, we have Mrs. Velsor, and she is our coordinator of special education here at the high school. And then there's other assistant principals, and each of us are responsible for one of the grade levels. So Mr. Hinman is here. He has the 10th graders. Mrs. Clark has the 11th graders. Mrs. Crouch is not here because she's moving her daughter into college today, but she is the 12th grade assistant principal. And we are a great team that works together. We huddle every morning and kind of tackle our own grade levels, but it's a great team that we have, so I'm very lucky for that. I want to introduce you Mr. Owen McLaughlin. He's the director of the Agricultural Science Program, which, might you know, was chosen as the best agricultural program in the state last spring. So let's give him a round of applause for that. The Ag Sci building is located behind the main building. So if you are in the program, today, when you go over there, it's open. Mr. McLaughlin is there, Mrs. Wilcox, who's our department leader, is over there, and Mrs. Maglio. And at some point in time in the program, you're gonna have one, if not all of the teachers. You're gonna exit out door 8, which is on the back side of the building in the blue wing. And when you exit door 8, the Ag Sci building is straight across. So please make sure you make your way over there today as you're touring. And then we have your counselors, who are extremely important people for you. I want to introduce Mr. Bud Mackey. He is one of the 9th grade counselors for the end of the alphabet. Mrs. Perzan is not here today. We do have Mrs. DeSenza, who's our director of counseling. So if you are in our multilingual program, if you are in GA, she's also your person. And then Ms. Gonzalez, who's on a maternity leave right now, is the counselor for all Ag Science students. We do have a sub who will be filling in for her, Mrs. Russman. So in the meantime, she's housed in the main office area. Mr. Bugnacki, myself, and Mrs. Perzan are all located in the 9th grade academy. And again, I know I'm giving you a lot of information. You're gonna be tired of hearing me talk. Starting in high school, you're gonna have class advisors. So Mrs. Cooney was here. She might have disappeared. She's a business teacher. She's one of your freshman class advisors, along with Mrs. Sarah Adams. And she's a modern U.S. history teacher. All 9th graders take modern U.S. history, so if you see Adams on your schedule, she'll be your history teacher. Your class advisors are responsible for collecting class dues. And you might say, I have no idea what that is. That means the money that you use to put towards your class for activities. You might do fundraisers. These are things that might pay for your prom in a couple of years, or pay for senior sunrise in a couple of years. So they'll work with you for the monetary part of it, but also they're the ones that are responsible to help the selection and nomination of class officers. So eventually you'll have a class president and vice president and treasurer, and they'll be the ones that are with you until you graduate in 2029. So you may not have heard of the 9th grade academy before, and may be wondering, what is it my school counselor does? But your school counselor is here for really anything you need. I am too, but that's really their role. They're here to answer questions about your classes, your schedule, the pathways, when you're ready to talk about college and scholarships, if you're having trouble with peers, all of those things. How many of you talked to a school counselor when you were in middle school at some point in time? There's like no hands up, I know you all have. So whoever you had as your counselors, whether you are at Kennedy or DePaulo or somewhere else outside of district, counselors basically do the same kind of role. If you're having a problem with a teacher, perhaps, or you're having trouble because you're starting to fail a class, they're the ones that you need to go to first, before it gets too late. You don't want it to get to the end of September and you've got a 50-something in your math class, and then be like, ooh, quarter's almost over and I'm failing. We'll talk about how important it is to stay on top of your coursework, to stay on top of your attendance, to make sure you don't get behind, and you earn the credits you need to move on to 10th grade. So if you need to see Mr. Budnacki or Mrs. Perzan, you can make an appointment with them on Canvas. We use Canvas a lot at the high school. So you're going to be hearing about Canvas for almost every class. So that'll be a place you should go to send a message to your counselor, a teacher, it could be to me. You can leave a message with them. You can stop in the 9th grade academy and tell Mrs. Fontaine, hey, can I talk to Mrs. Perzan? Or hey, can I talk to Mr. Budnacki? We will connect with you at some point in the day. We won't let time go on too far if you need something. And obviously, if there's an immediate concern, you should come directly to one of us. So, if you were in 8th grade last year and you came to the little assembly that we had in here, we had some students and they talked to your incoming freshmen now about their challenges, and they were very honest. And they told you all the classes that are kind of hard, and they told you that you really need to study, and they told you that you should take advantage of study halls. Everybody can tell you all those things, but you're gonna have to start to learn them and do them on your own. So as you're now a 9th grader, you're given more independence. Your parents aren't gonna be on you nearly as much as they used to be. People aren't gonna be holding your hand through things anymore. But it's super important that if you start to struggle or you're not sure what to do or you have a question about something, you have to be proactive and reach out to the adults, your counselors or your teachers or me. Because the minute you start to fall behind and you don't say anything, and then you fall further behind and don't say anything, it's really, really hard to crawl out of that hole. And I have to say, when I saw maybe like 10 of my former 9th graders here at summer school this year, I thought, oh my gosh, we must have had 20,000 conversations about how to not end up here. Because it can be avoided, you just gotta stay on top of it, but it will take some learning to know how it's different than your 8th grade experience was. So today, like I said, our technology team is at the table in the cafeteria. If you're having any trouble with accessing PowerSchool, Canvas, any of those things, you can stop and ask them, or you can stop down in the 9th grade academy and ask me or Mrs. Fontaine. So, one of your packets that you have has a sheet called Helpful Hints for Communicating with Southington High School. And there's a lot of very, very specific directions of who to go to, when to go to them, and who do I need for what. Parent Square, most of you are probably familiar with if you've been in Southington before. That is the quickest way for us to communicate and send out some mass information. I think I only sent 3 reminders probably about freshman orientation. Was that it? I didn't think it was enough. So we have that. In a minute, I'm going to scroll to the next slide, and you're all going to take out your phones, and you're going to join. You're going to start following my Instagram page. It's called SHS Admin Squad. We put a lot of important announcements, not just specific to 9th grade, but I would like you to follow it. Over the summer, one of the things I worked on was having our 9th grade academy website updated. There's a ton of information up there. You can get this presentation. You can get the presentation from the spring that we did to the 8th graders. I just recorded a virtual tour over the summer. You can watch that through our YouTube channel. So there's a lot, please check it out. And again, there's information in there about who to call, whose extension is what. And the student handbook is always the place to go if you have any questions regarding policy or, building protocols, things like that. Are you tired of me yet? I'm gonna be done in 13 minutes, because then you guys wanna get out and about. All right, so take a minute. I checked it, it worked. If you haven't followed already, ten seconds. Five seconds. There's not great service in here too, so if it doesn't work today, that's okay. All right. So I would say, in my experience in my first year working with ninth graders, the biggest thing that they are not grasping is the connection between attendance and credits. Students think it's okay if I just miss that class a few times. In a half-year class, it doesn't matter if I miss it 10 times. It does. Once you start to miss a half-year class 6 times, you and I are gonna have a meeting. Because I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna lose credit if your attendance continues to slide. In a full year class, once you get to the number 12, we're gonna have a meeting. And we're gonna have this conversation. If you don't attend your class, you're not gonna earn the credit. And then it's wasted time. Mr. Bugnacki and I have plenty of conversations, and sometimes we put together attendance support plans. But if you're not in class, you're missing the instruction. If you're missing the instruction, you can't earn the credit. So it is super, super important. Sometimes there's reasons why kids want to avoid that class. Maybe they're having a peer issue. Maybe they're struggling with the teacher. But we need to figure it out so you earn the credit you need. Who remembers how many credits you need to earn to get to 10th grade? 6. You got it. You need to earn 6 credits. So most of you are scheduled for probably somewhere between 6.5 to 7.5 credits. Remember, half-year classes are half a credit, full-year classes are 1. And it's Mr. Bugnacki and Mrs. Perzan's job to make sure that you're scheduled for the credits you need and they keep you on track. So I mentioned a little bit, I'm going to kind of fly through these ones a little bit. I mentioned about getting involved. You might be an athlete, you might be a musician, you might be an artist, you might be a photographer, you might be a dancer, you might be a singer, I graduated with 68 people, 6'8". It's a very small high school, public too. In a little school, you don't have a lot of opportunities. In a big school, you have a ton of opportunities. And once you take advantage of the things that you like and you're good at, you start pursuing those interests, it makes you feel more comfortable and more part of the school community. So we really encourage you to start thinking about that. Like I said, you may have taken a paper copy of all the clubs and activities. It's a little overwhelming, because there's a lot of them. But just start talking to people. When you walk around today, look at some of the signage and the posters, and you might say, oh, I never thought about doing that. So there's plenty of things to get involved with. And even when you're not sure, again, defer to your counselor and ask them, how do we get involved in that? Who do I email to see when the next meeting is? And when you're walking around today, you'll notice some large TV screens that we got over the course of last year and this year that have announcements. And we announce when the club meetings are and when the sports are. And so just take a look at those today too. Anything might pique your interest. I think all of this signage I took down, but it used to be in front of the 9th grade academy. We'll get some new stuff up there. And whatever it is that you want to pursue, don't do it just because a friend's doing it. Don't do it just because you've always done it. Branch out, try something different. Who knows, maybe you're really good at chess and you never knew that. Join the chess club. Okay, we're getting there, I promise. So, on August 28th, and if you haven't started setting an early alarm, do it. I don't like my 4:30 alarm that went off, but I'm doing it. That's right, 4:30. All right, so the doors will open. If you take a bus, the bus loop is obviously right outside the auditorium in the front here, door 25. All students are going to start entering into door 25. Until 7:15, students kind of gather in the cafeteria, main cafeteria area. We don't allow anybody to leave the cafeteria until 7:15. At 7:15, it's like whoosh, and we release everybody. You do not have to be sitting in your first period class until 7:37. So I'm sure parents are sitting there scratching their head going, what are they doing for 22 minutes? Your children will walk. If you didn't know, kids get a lot of exercise here in the morning, taking laps with their friends. Sometimes they'll go see a teacher for extra help, but they're probably not. They're probably just walking, talking, doing all that, which is fine. There's a bell that rings at 7:33. That's their 4-minute warning bell. And at 7:37, they need to be in their seat in their first period class. Who remembers how long your classes are? How many? 88 minutes. So then you'll get to your first period class for the next 88 minutes. Again, I encourage you, make sure you're checking Power School. I'm going to say, Mrs. DeSenza said Tuesday will be the day that it's the most updated. Thursday the 28th is an A day. Friday the 28th is going to be a? You guys are good. And it will follow that pattern. On the first day is the only day we dismiss a little bit early. At 2:07, we're going to ring the bells because you're not all going to know where your buses are. So that just gives you plenty of time to figure out from your 4th period class how I'm going to get to the front of the building to the bus loop and get to my bus. And I promise you, nobody will miss their bus. And this is the fastest bus dismissal I've ever seen in 21 years. I don't know how 2,000 kids get onto buses so quickly, but it's pretty amazing. If you're not sure about transportation, make sure you check the bus routes. They are posted on the SPS website, and this is a link when you go online and look at the presentation. You could potentially have a different morning bus than your afternoon bus. And students, once you get out to the buses, there's a sign in the window, and it'll say like SHS Bus 21 AM, okay? If you're picking your child up at school, we recommend you come at 2:25 after the buses have left. I know a lot of parents, I stand out on the corner by Pleasant, by the last stop sign out there, and many people will stop there and pick up their children. Even though it says avoid picking up your child on Pleasant Street, people tend to do it. All right, I want you to take out your schedules right now. Woo, that's the exciting time. This is really what you wanted. You didn't want me to talk at you for 30 minutes. Okay, so again, first day, Thursday the 28th, A day. That's a little fuzzy. Second day, Friday will be a B day. All right, so up at the top, you should see where it says counselor. So it should say either Perzan, Budnacki, or Gonzalez if you're in 9th grade or Ag Sci. If you're a new student and it has a different name, that's why. Counselors are assigned by alphabet to grades 10 through 12. Can you do that? Is there nothing there? Oh, okay. So, okay, I'll backtrack here. Beginning at the alphabet, A through K, 9th grade is Mrs. Perzan. The rest of the alphabet, Mr. Budnacki. Ag Sci students, it would be Miss Gonzalez. Okay? Boy, I need to do some updating before 6 o'clock tonight. All right. The reason that you don't see a locker or locker number, we used to put it on everybody's schedule, but I I would say 98% of students don't use lockers here. You may though, you may want to know where it is, and on that day that you have a big heavy winter coat, or you have a bag for some activity. So we will tell you where your locker is. We can give you your combination. Everyone has an assigned locker. It's just kind of like upon request, which is a little bit of a change than it used to be. All right, on the left-hand side, where it says A, like 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, that's the number block. So right now I want you to find 2A. Find your 2A class. It should then say term 23, no, it'll say 25, 26. 25, 26 is year long. S1 is semester 1. S2 is semester 2. Okay? It'll say the course name. Then it will tell you who the teacher is. The last column is the room number. And then we'll go over what E and C and all those things mean. So this is kind of like a mock schedule. On a day, if this was my schedule, I'd have Earth Science, Intro to Business, Spanish. So in block 3 is where your lunch wave will be. You do not know your lunch wave right now. I will tell you that. I don't know your lunch wave right now. So it might say something like, see up at the top the little lunch box? Once you have your lunch wave assigned, it'll say A3, which means on A day, I eat my lunch in the 3rd lunch wave. So it starts at 10:43, 11:13, 11:43, 12:13. There's 4 lunch waves within the 3rd block. So if I have the 3rd lunch wave on A day, that means I go to class until 11:43. I go to lunch till 12:13, and then I go back to class for the last 30 minutes of that block. I see a lot of people looking at me like, whoa. But you guys will get in the hang of it. Whatever class you have block 3, all of the kids in your class will go to lunch at the same time. I promise your teacher will not walk you down the hall and like hold your hand and make you walk in a line. But you'll all go to lunch. Potentially you'll return to class. If you had the 4th lunch wave, you would go class, 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 lunch, and then I go to block 4. Okay? You can ask me questions on that later. All right. Oops, I said I'd be done by now. Give me 5 more minutes. BCAP. So some people in other schools call it like an advisory program. You're going to be assigned a BCAP class based on your pathway. So if your interest is in the health and medical sciences, the kids we assign in your BCAP class might have the same interest. We're doing it a little bit differently this year that we're assigning it by a class period, but you're going to be with the same BCAP group and the same BCAP teacher all year long. And 12 times in the school year, we have a different schedule where you go to BCAP at one part of the day, and we talk about career planning, and we talk about study skills, and we talk about all sorts of things that have to do with like time management and all those essential tasks, okay? And it's sort of a time that, you know, you're gonna get to know the kids in your class, you're gonna get to know the teacher, and it should be a nice experience for you. Again, it's only 12 times a year, but we'll build some skills in you that are non-academically related, let's say. All right, so back to your schedules. If you see on your schedule a room number that starts with the number 1, it's in the basement. And I don't mean it to sound like creepy, dark, dank basement. It's not. But on the basement level is like, if you're in Project Lead the Way, if you have tech ed classes, if you have a health class or health and safety certification, those are all on the basement level, the 1st floor. If you see a number 2, that's the main floor. That's where we are right now. So it may say something like C214 for your modern US history class. It may say something like E288 for your algebra class. If it says an E, we'll talk about that in a minute. Hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. 3 is upstairs. Your science classes are upstairs. English classes are upstairs on the 3rd floor. All right, so E is the blue section. That's down on the east wing towards the 9th grade academy. C is the centrally part of the building. So again, that's going to be your history class. You might have a baking class or interior design. That's in the C section. West is where we are now. Auditorium, fine arts, art and music, chorus, things like that. And again, if it has an A, that's Ag Sci, so that's only for Ag Sci students across the way. So your basic 9th grade academic courses are going to be down in the blue section. And you'll see when you're walking around with your schedule. Your elective classes could be anywhere. You could have an art class down here, you can have a health class downstairs, so it really depends. You guys have your own cafeteria, which I try to be in at least in the beginning of the year. I'll be there as much as possible. But it's kind of nice. It's at the bottom of stair 14. You'll see a big sign today. It says freshman cafeteria. So please go down. I don't think it's open, but you can take a peek in. And there's 2 single stall bathrooms in there, which is kind of nice. So it's just a smaller caf just for 9th graders. And let me tell you right now, if you're in 9th grade and you tell me, but my friend invited me to the main cafeteria, that invitation's no good until 2026, okay? Okay. If you have a study hall, and I'm gonna guess many of you have a study hall at least one of the semesters, those are in a classroom with a teacher. Over the course of the year, you might get assigned to a monitored study hall, and if you have a monitored study hall, that would be up in the Library Media Center, which is above the main caf. All right, so one of the things you should be looking for on the front of your packet, where it says look fors, is the 9th grade academy. So that's where my office is housed. Again, myself, Mrs. Perzan, Mr. Bud Mackey, and Mrs. Fontaine, who's our admin assistant. We have space to work in there. We have a conference room in there. It doesn't matter if you're, I know we're gonna have 10th graders, I'm certain, come back and see us, Mr. Bud Mackey, don't you think? We're just kind of a cool place to go. But this is where you go to see your counselors, ask questions about your schedule, if you had a question about a club, if you need to make a phone call to your parent because your phones don't work in the building, which they typically do not, you can come make a phone call. So anything you need, pop down. Again, it's the end of the east wing. You can't miss it. All right, so as I said, lunch, you're gonna eat downstairs in the freshman caf. If you're a new student here, grades 10 through 12, you're gonna eat in the main cafeteria. I already talked about study halls. We already talked about IDs. Lockers, if you're interested in a locker, make sure you ask myself or Mrs. Fontaine about lockers today. I believe some of you might have had some summer work to do, so this is just a friendly reminder that you have T-minus 8 days to get your summer work done. And if you do have a summer packet to turn in, make sure you bring it with you on the first day of school. So, again, this is gonna be you in 2029, if you're a 9th grader. It's a fast journey. I can't believe that my first year here is already over. Please take advantage of the people around you, the adults you have in this building, to make the most of the next 4 years. If you're a new student, make the most of your next 3, 2, or 1 year, okay? Now, before you leave, this is the end, please look on the back of your packet. If you have a blue